Hello there, my lovelies. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these. So these are simply decorative crystals that I've made out of clay, glue and paint. If you'd like to try this at home for yourself, then these are the materials you will need for this make. First of all, you'll need some clay. And today I'm using just a regular air drying clay in white. It's very important that it is white or grey because we're going to be painting it and colouring it, so it's easier on white or grey. So as you can see, this one is very squishy. Now you don't want to wet your clay too much. Obviously you can pop a bit of water on it's getting a bit dry and flaky, but this is perfect consistency I need for this make. You could try this with Play-Doh or other modelling clays. I will put a link in the description to where I actually found this tutorial myself. So I'm doing it a little bit differently to how she did it, but I think it turned out okay all the same. First item is clay. Second item is your base. Now today I'm using glass, and this was just a cheap candle stand from a homeware store. It was about 80p. You can use jar lids, wood, ceramics, anything you like to pop your crystals onto. I wouldn't advise using card or paper, as we're going to be using a lot of glue to stick it down with, and it might seep through. So, very important second item. Next, you'll need some paint or drawing ink. Ink works very well for this make, but as many of you know, I happen to use acrylic paints a lot, so I had these to hand. And if you can get your hand on some metallic paints, it's even better. So these are, let's see, Crafter's Acrylic by Deco Art. We have Dazzling Metallic and plain Crafter's Acrylic in silver and peacock. Now this is a little extra step if you want to. I think it just makes your crystals a lot shinier and more realistic. I haven't put this onto my purple one yet, but I've tested it out and it's very good. And this is just a clear coat to put on top of your crystals when they're dry. Okay, so once you've chosen your colours, a little extra cool thing you can add is silver foil. Now you'll be adding this in little pieces to your clay, so you don't need a lot. I have 3 squares here, and I doubt I'll even need all 3 for this. This is paper craft foil, but you can use ordinary tin foil. It does the job just fine. Okay. So the next thing you'll need is some glitter. I have it in 3 different colours here, and I'm going to be mixing some of my glitters to make my final colour, but this is an extra step that you don't have to do, but again I think it adds a little bit something special to the make, so it's up to you. I'll let you decide after you've finished watching the video. So glitters. You'll also need a sharp knife. I'm just using a regular dinner knife. You can use a craft knife, pretty much anything that's got a edge to it, so you could even use a ruler if you fancied, and you'll see why this is important later. You'll need a thin paintbrush, and this is going to be for finishing touches and edge effects. I have my scissors here, and I may be using these at some point, but I'll primarily be using my knife. So the scissors are extra if you need them. And then finally you'll need some good craft glue. And not only is this to stick your crystals to your base, but it'll also be used to adhere your glitter to your base. So I'm using a clear craft glue, if I can just get the lid off. Okay. You could use PVA. I would recommend using it neat. Don't put water with it, as you're going to need quite a thick glue for this make. So that's all our materials. Without further ado, let's get to making. Okay, so we have our clay here, and this is the clay I showed you at the start without anything added or to it. This little guy here has some of the foil, as you can see as I just move it around. And this is the final product that we are looking for. This is with the foil and paint added. Okay. Now this is where it gets a little bit messy, so you may want to wear gloves for this. Want to mould out your clay a little bit. And now you're going to choose your paint or your ink that you're going to want to stain it with. So I'm just going to grab my peacock colour. And at this stage you simply want to massage it in. So you will get very messy, I'm afraid, but I find it's all part of the fun. Okay, so it's starting to take the colour that we want, and you don't have to completely mix it in, because I find that the better looking crystals turned out with like flecks and swirls and stuff in it, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. So at this stage your clay is going to start getting very wet and soggy. So once you've completely mixed your paint in, you're going to want to leave it to dry out for a little bit. But not so long that it completely dries. So I'd leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes, if that. Okay, but as I'm working it in, it's already becoming more tacky. Okay. So now we have our little ball of coloured clay. I'm just going to go and wash my hands off so I can show you step 2. Okay, so we've got our little pieces here, and I'm going to show you now how I add the silver. Okay, so you just want to roll it out a little bit, or pull it apart as I am. Grab your silver foil and you're going to tear off little pieces just like so. Doesn't have to be neat. And then you're going to press them into your clay. Okay. And then you're going to work them in. And you just want to keep repeating this process until you're happy with how much is on there. So obviously if you want more flecks in your clay, you just need to add more. Just move those out of the way. Hopefully you can see that there. I've got my little bits of foil in there. So it's starting to look like our end piece. And all I need to do now is shape it. So I'm using the whole of my knife and just using it to flatten it out, because we want good crisp lines when we're cutting our crystals. Okay. Just smooth it out. This is kind of a short one. Ideally you want it a little bit longer, but you get the idea. So I'm going to demonstrate on our finished piece here how you get your crystals. So I'm going to cut this one in half. And again, it doesn't have to be neat because we're creating natural forms. So I'm just going to tidy up the edges. Okay. And then what you're going to need to do is just cut or just press your knife into it. So you want to work out what sort of angle you want the top of your crystal to be. So I might just use my scissors for this one. Just to get a good edge. Okay. I'm just using my knife to flatten those edges. Okay, so you can kind of see it's more resembling a crystal now, and it is a little bit fiddly. You just want to keep working your edges. Okay, just like that. Okay. So all these little extra bits that you've cut off, don't throw away. You can use them to create rocks and little bits of crystal, and these all add to the effect of your final product. So I'm going to keep these to one side, and I'm going to cut up the rest of my clay that I have, and then I will show you how to put it together. So I've got my base, which is really squidgy. It has a layer of the craft glue, and then I simply poured my glitter mix over the top, so it's still kind of squidgy and ready for my crystals to sit on. So I have my ones I made earlier and a couple that I made yesterday, and how I did this was I mixed two different sorts of coloured clay and just rolled them together. Now it's time for building, so we'll put this guy in the middle. This is going to be a delicate operation, I think. As you can see. Okay. So you need them in kind of a circular pattern, or that really doesn't want to pay. There we go. You'll want your sort of chunky ones in the middle, and then as you move outwards, you'll want your thinner and smaller crystals. So let's pop you there. wiggle them into place. You gonna stand up for me? Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to build my crystals outwards, adding my little bits towards the outside. So I will see you in a moment. Here we are, the finished product. Okay. Now, the reason you need a thin paintbrush is so that you can paint these little lines with your silver paint down the edges of your crystal, and that's so it looks more sharp and gives it that more crystal-like look. Now, I haven't varnished this one yet, but when I do, I will use a gloss varnish, which will make them extra shiny. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think I actually prefer this one to my original. So let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your opinion on this one. I'm very happy with how they turned out, and I think I'm going to make more in future. So thank you again, as always, for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.